Michael, this next question is for you. Vince Lombardi talks about how fatigue makes cowards of us all. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. How can we protect ourselves and others from this fatigue, especially as we enter into this last quarter of the year, which is so incredibly significant?
Wow, what a great question. I'm reminded of someone who said their two life principles were never make big decisions when they're tired, and number two, never doubt during the night what you know to be true during the day. And so during those dark nights of the soul when you're doubting, don't doubt what was actually around you when you could actually see clearly. And I think those two things are linked, because when we're really tired and fatigued, we don't see things clearly anymore. We can't reason them clearly anymore, and we can't process things clearly anymore. And so now we add the fatigue into the problem. So I think it's very important to remember why it's so necessary for us to take a time of rest, every week. I think there's a reason why that pattern is given to us, because without it, we're not going to be able to recharge and regain. The fatigue just simply increasingly blurs the vision, and then we've seen it. And I can relate to what Thomas said. The worst decisions I've made in my life and the things I wish I could change the most is normally when I was very tired, normally upset as a result as well. Something happened and I responded. And I just wish, under any other circumstances, I would have responded differently. And you have to learn from those times. It is easy to convince ourselves we're more important and significant than we are. It's helpful to remember that we don't run the universe, although we like to think we do. And it's very important that we do learn to rest. It's part of the ways in which you enjoy the work of others around you when you're doing that, and you actually can recognize them too. So there is just the physical thing of develop a pattern and routine in your life, which will help you deal with that fatigue. And there's a reason why people are told to exercise and stuff like that. It's not necessarily so you can be stronger to work longer. It's you'll rest better when you do rest. The reason why it's good to be open and to develop the kinds of relationships Thomas was asking about, if you can trust your team, then it's easier to take a day off. If you can't trust them, or you rule through fear, you have no idea who your friends are, it's very hard to rest. I mean, tyrants are the most tired people I meet as I travel around the world. They've got no idea who their friends are. They feel they can't take the eye off the ball for 1 second, because if they do, maybe they'll get it in the back. So it is so useful to develop that pattern of figuring out how to rest, figuring out how to make sure that you're in that place where you can, and also building something. If you are as a leader, you will be building something, to build in a degree of trust and competence where you realize, and I very quickly realized, for me, there's a big difference between leadership and management. Management requires a lot of control and time. And you can lead from a distance, but you can't manage from a distance. If you have skilled enough people around you who are leaders as well, and you can release them so they're not dependent, but they're competent, it's easier again to rest, because you can say, you know what, I need this time off now. I can pick it up in the morning. There's a good team I can trust. There'll be times of huge crisis where you're going to have to make yourself available. But if you're living it every day, you haven't got that balance right, because you're not going to have 70 years of crisis or 50 years or however long it will be. There will be moments, but make sure it's a season. And if it's become a lifestyle, there's probably something wrong with the structure you build around you, that you can't now actually get the time you need to gain the perspective that's actually required for you to do well. And I think for me, it does come back to the things we talk about: fear and humility. If you're really fearful, you're going to be too scared to do it. And if there's no humility around you, you'll never convince yourself that you're not important enough. Everything will fall around without me. And I've seen so many people drive themselves into the ground because they've been convinced of that falsehood.